Hi, everybody. I wish I could see your faces and really interact with you, but it's just one of those things. Um, Pablo Picasso, everybody has heard his name. He said that every child is an artist. The real problem is to remain one even after one grows up. So we're not asking here for everyone to become an artist, but these are some of the topics that we will be covering today. Why engage in inquiry? Why talk of art? Why museums and galleries? What do you mean by closed-looking and open-ended inquiry? Activities that you can do with children when they are looking at art, whether it's in museums or whether it's in the classroom, and also how you can bring class and art into your classrooms, connecting it with curriculum. I have the URL of my Padlet given right at the bottom. I had also posted this URL in the chat right at the beginning. So if you can go to your chat right in the beginning, you'll be able to see that URL. Please click on this URL. All the documents that are linked to this presentation are in the Padlet. So please let me know if you have any difficulty accessing the Padlet, then I can post the URL again. Maybe
I've posted it again, Mansa. You can continue.
okay, thank you so much. So why inquiry-based learning? I mean, what else has man been doing ever since he walked the face of earth but inquire? Our whole transformation into this 21st century avatar has been driven by inquiry. Man saw birds flying in the sky and he said he wanted to fly, and he inquired, how can I fly? And lo and behold, he learned to fly. He looked into the rivers and oceans and he saw the fish swimming, and he wanted to dive in and discover the secrets of the oceans. And lo and behold, he uh, found ways to reach the deepest parts of the ocean. So inquiry has been fundamental to man's evolution. The primary purpose of education is Dimag ki batti jalao. The very culture of innovation and interdisciplinary thinking depends on going beyond the core literacies of reading, writing, and numeracy, and unleashing the explosive potential of human mind. Any standards-based curriculum is inadequate because students just don't get enough opportunity in their classrooms to be able to observe, think, and inquire. Let's talk about art. Why art? Art makes the mundane sublime. Children learn to draw even before they write. To inquire and to create are two of the fundamental needs of any human being. So obviously, inquiry-based learning flows beautifully into art and vice versa. Observing art has many positives. It helps the students to develop the 4 C's of the 21st century skills. Uh, Communication, creativity, critical thinking, collaboration. It enhances not only their motor and language skills, but also it teaches them risk taking, problem solving, In fact, art has been known to reach those children who find it difficult to engage with academic work. Research has shown in many schools, people have done research and they have found that because of art interventions, the disciplinary issues have gone down, attendance has increased, test scores have become better. Art, above all, connects students with their own culture and the culture all over the world. So, I mean, I could go on and all about the positives of art. Why talk about museums and galleries? Museums and galleries, because they are there. Whether it's a science museum or a handicraft museum or a history museum or even an art museum, they are full of wonderful ready-made resources. These places, any kind of museum or a gallery, they boost observation skills, which are critical for anything, whether it's if a child is learning to read or to even adult research. Um, Through their experience in museums and galleries, students come to see learning as a search for knowledge more than just gobbling up of information. And now we don't even physically, we don't have to go to museums every time. Lot of museums have opened up their doors to virtual visits. So you can actually sit on the laptop and take your students around the museum. And sometimes it's not necessary for you to go to art. Art can come into your classrooms. You can project art using a projector or using a photograph or actually getting a piece of sculpture, whatever. I mean, so art and class can come together in many ways. Art and science of questioning. So when we are talking of inquiry-based learning, we are actually talking about the art and science of questioning. Questions, like all teachers understand, are invaluable tools. Every kind of learning journey starts with a question. Unfortunately, the formal education system is so hardwired to the correct answer syndrome that the joy of inquiry is lost. Questions, again, serve many functions. They are not just to assess student knowledge, they actually ignite curiosity, they encourage students to reflect on their own thought processes. Questions can prompt students to clarify and support their claims. Questions can help them apply class concepts to real world scenarios. Questioning is one art which is also a science which I think every teacher should have. Um, when when we bring inquiry-based learning connected to art and oh, everything comes alive. Let's see what happens when this happens. I'm going to show you a video where the teacher takes two groups of students. One is a fairly senior group and one is a junior group, and she's taken them to a museum and they're looking at a piece of art, and they follow something what's called as the see, think, wonder routine. From the famous, this routine was created by the famous Harvard's Project Zero, Zero's Visible Learning Program, and the teacher is using that. It's a very simple routine protocol, but a very, very effective one. Let's look at the video and then we'll talk about it a little more.
something crazy.
I've never seen something like that before.
Mysterious.
Colourful. Made me feel confused. Beautiful. Why is she naked?
The first thing we do when we look at the artwork is just really to look at it properly. We start by asking the most basic of questions, which is what can you see in the picture? The next stage is we think about what the painting reminds us of. The third part of the process is more to do with the imagination and wondering about if we can expand on the descriptions of what we've seen.
One of the paintings reminded me of a jigsaw puzzle.
I thought it was really cluttered, and it took me a long time to get my own idea of what was happening, and I had to really analyse it.
It looked joyful. It made me feel weird.
The blue shapes kind of reminded me of raindrops falling down a window.
One of them reminded me of a strawberry.
I saw a chicken nugget and I saw a dog.
I thought it was quite intriguing because I didn't really know what was going on, and everyone had their own idea about it.
When you actually look at it for 10 minutes or so and actually take everything in, it kind of makes you think more about the painting.
We were thinking about different senses, jumping into the painting, thinking about how it might smell, taste, what noises might be there, trying to think of it as a place to visit.
There was a man in the photo that was kind of looked like he was puking, so I was like, why is he puking?
That one seemed very apocalyptic.
I think it would smell like paint, and I think it would make crackling noises.
You have to sit and consider everything because it is a serious thing.
It's really powerful. It was just upsetting to look at, but it looked like they were getting back on their feet, so it's got a story to it, kind of.
I thought it was an amazing painting. Everything was happening. It was kind of going back in time.
Is to encourage them to value their own opinions and their own experiences of life and bring that to the artwork. You get a completely different set of reactions every single time. You can take absolutely anyone into the gallery, no matter their age or background or ability, and you can unlock artworks and experience the artwork in a different way.
Can I do now? I'm going to show you my Padlet. You can also access the Padlet. As you can see, there are 4 documents in the Padlet. So the first document is about a short article on making the most of museums. I want you to go back home, this Padlet, you will have the link, you can access it, you can download the documents. It's a very interesting article. Since I'm short of time here, you can go through and see how you can make most of museums, and not just artwork, but any object has a power to teach because it makes the students think and inquire. And in the last document, as you can see here, I have written some useful links. So the video that I played just now, the link to the video is given here. You can, those who couldn't look at it or hear it well, can have a look at the video once the webinar is over. And there are a whole lot of other links that I will be talking about during my session. All the links to the various videos that I want you to look, the articles that I want you to read, and the courses or full courses that you may want to attend, all the links are there in the Padlet. So please access the Padlet, download the documents, and that will be a great help. So, all right, we can move on now. So what the video showed was that first the students were asked to see, then they expressed their thoughts about the image. They were given time to think, and then they expressed their thoughts on the image or the painting that they saw. And then finally, they were encouraged to wonder, ask questions about the painting that they were looking at. You can obviously see that there were two sets of students. There were very senior students, and there were primary students as well. So this shows that art has the capacity to reach from nursery to it's endless. This routine can be used for all grades to guide students' thinking, not only in works of art and inquiry-based learning, but also about topics in other subjects, from mathematics to history to science. We'll soon come to that. We'll talk about it later. Now, what is close looking? So when initially you expose the child, the student, to a piece of art, you want to give him time to just stand there and look at the piece of art. It could be whatever, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever you think is necessary. And it's a good idea sometimes having your students move in relationship to the art piece, because it can, when the students, you can start the students by looking at it very closely and then have them step back. This sort of opens up the painting or the artwork, and it enables them to see things that they didn't see previously, and also allows them to see things differently. You can also get the students to use a viewfinder, exactly what it does in a camera. If it's a huge painting, a very large painting, and it's a very busy painting with a lot of details, then it's difficult for students to take in so much information at one go. So what you can do is you can actually ask them to use viewfinders, which are very simple to make. They could be just a window cut out in a cardboard, or you can, like the slide shows, it could be just two hands fingers put together to make a little window. The viewfinder helps you to break the art piece down into parts and to focus on just one particular area, rather than to sort of make sense of the entire thing. So you can actually hold the viewfinder very close to your eyes, or close, or at an arm's length. So this sort of also helps the students vary the perspective when they are viewing art. What is open-ended inquiry? Now, I have in the Padlet given a little worksheet which you can use with the students when they are viewing art. It's a sample worksheet that they can be asked to use. The more open-ended your questions are, the more ideas the students will be able to generate. Some of the examples of questions that should not be asked are the close-ended questions, which will give you monosyllabic answers, a yes or a no. For example, what color is this? Does the subject look sad? This does not really put the students into an inquiry-based mode. So better questions would be, how would you describe this color? What might the subject be feeling? Also, when the students have finished observing, we talking about the see, think, wonder routine. So once they have finished seeing, when they come to thinking, you can actually facilitate conversation by using follow-up questions to nudge them in the right direction. For example, what else do you notice? What else can you see in the painting? You can even dig deeper. You can ask clarifying questions and guide the students to give very specific and detailed description. For example, what do you see in the artwork that makes you say that? the students will have to back up their interpretation with what they see in the artwork. Once you get this kind of lively discussion going using open-ended questioning, make sure that you validate the question, the students' responses, and actually share what the students are saying with the entire class. Often it's not necessary that you just have a discussion or a conversation. You can actually bring it, make them write their responses, and this is where you can use the worksheet that I have given in the Padlet. It again, the questions in the worksheet follow the same order of see, think, wonder. So it's not necessary that it's just an oral exercise. You can actually ask students to write down things. The process will be the same. You can have a look at the observation worksheet, download it. There are many more exercises apart from doing the worksheet, simply responding to teachers' questions, or you can have many other kinds of activities when students are engaging with artwork. For example, this is a painting by Bhupen Khapar, and these are the kind of some writing activities that you can actually ask the students to do, like generate a list of words to describe the art piece, then pick up words from the list to form sentences that outline your thinking. Write a postcard to a friend about the place shown in the artwork. Write, pick up any person from the painting. You become that person, and then you write a first-person story, a narrative from the perspective of that character. Write a wall label about the work of art. So these kind of writing activities are a good idea, because a lot of students don't feel comfortable talking about their thoughts. In fact, sometimes they don't even know how to put their thoughts into words and speak about them. So this is a welcome chance for them to write. It gives them time and to write things down. Younger students can even draw stuff. So to address the needs of these kinds of students, you can develop multimodal activities to engage students who have other kinds of learning styles. This is another set of activities that you can do when students engage with art during an inquiry-based learning session. These are the kind of activities that you can do with fairly younger kids, because these are the kind of activities that spark imagination and do not require extensive advanced writing skills. These type of activities actually engage the younger learners' senses and actually ask them to step inside the piece of art, like step inside. So we have Shakuntala Patralekhan here by Raja Ravi Verma. These are the kind of activities that you can do. Imagine what it would be like to be physically in the painting. What can you hear, smell? What might the subject be thinking? They can actually make a little speech bubble on top of Shakuntala's head, like they do in cartoons, and actually write down what they think Shakuntala could be thinking about. Make a drawing of what may have happened before or after the event shown in the work of art you are looking at. So you are actually inviting the children to draw what could have been before this painting, or what scene could have been after this painting. So these are some of the interesting activities that spark off inquiry in the mind of learners. There are some other kinds of activities also. Have the students do a movement exercise. They pose exactly like what the characters in the paintings are doing. They can pretend to be those characters and pose exactly like that, make tableaus. They could create soundscapes. Suppose there's a painting which shows a train running over a bridge of a fast flowing river. So a group of children can create the noise the train makes, the gushing of the water, the clickety clack of the train wheels, and they can actually bring the entire painting alive by making these different sounds. So there are numerous activities that you can do to use art as a pathway to ignite students' thought processes. Whatever the activity you choose, it is important to make sure that the instructions are simple and clear. The student should know what needs to be done. It has to be aligned to your teaching objective. What is the learning objective? And also it should be developmentally appropriate to the students. I mean, you should look at the age, the capacity of your students, and then create these activities. A lot. Art can do a lot, and all that I've been talking about is it might not seem very familiar, but a lot is happening in schools in India. Here is an example of the amazing things that can happen when students actually are led on the path of inquiry and are given the opportunity to express their deepest thoughts and feelings through art. So Devrai Art Village is a place in Panchgani, and it's a place where craftsmen from Gadchiroli and Chhattisgarh work to produce amazing art pieces, craft work. And there was this school from Mumbai. I don't remember which class it was, 10th or maybe 11th standard children who had come. They worked with the craftsmen, and the only thing that they were told was that they should, whatever they felt deeply about, whatever they felt strongly about, they should work with the craftsmen to convert it into an art piece. And this is what they made. I mean, look at this. This, I'm sure, is a student who wanted to show global warming. So, of course, the wax work was done all by the students, and the pouring of the hot metal and all was done by the craftsmen, because that is a dangerous sort of routine. But look at the kind of artwork that the students have produced. This was a student trying to say that listening is more important than speaking or talking. Here was another piece which showed the power of the laborer. So it's just the torso with a lot of muscles, and it shows the strength of the laborer. Look, amazing art pieces, and they have all kinds of interpretations that what they had to say, why they had made that particular art piece, what significance it had for them, what is the message that they were trying to convey. This is my favorite piece. This was one student who had made a heart, and his perception was that heart is not just a muscle made up of, aorta and ventricles and all those things, but heart actually is a place which harbors your deepest emotions and your feelings, and it needs to be taken care of. So look at this. I mean, I was blown away to see the kind of work that the students can do if they are given the opportunity to just to inquire and let their mind fly. So I actually had started with two objectives in mind when I started the webinar. The first one was to talk about the power of art as a force for developing students' inquiry skills. So that part is over. We saw how we can visit museums and galleries, how we can bring art into the classroom, and how we can do the routine of see, think, wonder to ignite the inquiry process in students. Now we're going to look a little bit, just about half an hour, so that's not really much to talk about such a huge subject, but I'm going to really touch upon arts integration because it is very important. It's coming in a big way, and so I want to talk about, bring your attention to the rich connections teachers can create between art and the topics that they are teaching. It could be a math topic, or a science, or a English language arts, and this process is called is called arts integration. This is a typical definition of arts integration. Art, whether it's in museums or elsewhere, doesn't just boost inquiry mindset, but it can be seamlessly integrated with specific academic subjects. Art integration means incorporating the arts in the teaching process while you are teaching, or it could also mean while the students are demonstrating their learning. They can demonstrate in a particular kind of art. And by arts, I don't just mean visual arts here. I don't mean painting or drawing, or, I'm also talking about performing arts such as vocal and instrumental music, dance, puppetry, mimicry, storytelling, theater, cinema, and even martial and culinary arts. Arts integration also at times may require the subject teacher to work with the art teacher in the school. Many schools in India now are waking up to arts integration, and they are now weaving different arts into their teaching routines, and finding that the approach not only promotes academic achievement, but by bringing art into the classroom, they are boosting creativity, critical thinking. Students are becoming more self-confident and moving towards autonomous learning. They're taking responsibility for their own learning because they're getting so interested in the whole process of learning through art integration. So, art integration, of course, was talked about in the NCF 2005 National Curriculum Framework, but art integration has found a big mention in the new education policy draft, and the CBSE and the NCERT have already come out with detailed books. You can see the book covers on the slide. The blue one is by CBSE and the brown one is by NCERT. These are two books which are easily downloadable. You just have to go to the site and download these books. I have given the link to these in the Padlet. So you can access the Padlet and easily download these books. Please go through these books. They're wonderful books. They talk about art integration in Indian context, in Indian classroom. They have both the books talk about art integration in various grades and at various in various subjects. Actually, these are the links, but don't worry, these links are, if you have your cell phone ready, you can take a snap of the slide, but these links have been given in the Padlet as well. The shift to arts integrated learning is actually more of a mindset issue than a logistical one. Our world is transforming at such a rapid pace that sometimes it can feel that it's falling apart, but it requires faith to know that something new, something better is being born. Let's step forward and embrace it. I know we already have our plates full. I mean, with COVID happening, we know how our worlds have been turned upside down. But art integration may look difficult, may look complicated. I would suggest take smaller steps, but please welcome this in your classrooms. The last link that I have given here is actually about where Dr. Pavan Sudhir, who is the head of Department of Education in Arts and Aesthetics in NCERT, and on this link you'll find there's a very nice video of she talking about arts integration with other two professors. There are modules given on this website, and there's some written material as well. Please look at the video. It really will clarify a lot of fog that is around art integrated learning. So please do download these books and visit this sign. Listen to Dr. Pavan Sudhir from NCERT, and there is a discussion forum also here on this site, which if you want any questions, you can put those questions on that discussion forum. So I am going to just give you a singular example of how art integration would look in the classroom. These books have number of examples. I'm just going to give you just one example here. So this is a painting by Francis Newton Souza. And suppose you are teaching vocabulary to class 4 students, and you want them to, the learning objective is to be able to use vocabulary related to senses, all kinds of senses. So you show this painting, and you divide the class into 3 groups: Group A, Group B, Group C. Group A students will write words related to what, if the painting were to come alive, what are the kind of sounds they will hear. For example, ticking of the clock, whirring of the sewing machine, etc. Group B students would write words related to the smell. For example, probably the smell of the burning wick of the lamp, the smell of the oil in the machine, the smell of the polish on the table. And the group C should imagine touching the various surfaces in the painting, the smooth surface of the machine, the rough surface of the clock, the metal surface of the candle, the lamp, and the smooth glass of the bottle, and describe them using words. Then all the 3 groups will come together and create a collective vocabulary bank. The teacher could write it on the board, or they could put it up on a chart, and then all the groups separately. Group A will create a poem, Group B will create a poem, Group C will create a poem, but they will use the vocabulary of all the 3 groups, all the collective vocabulary that has been created. teacher can help them out. There can be a discussion before they dive into creating their poems. Students are free to interpret the painting in any which way and create poems to suit their imagination. Great activity, art incorporated, vocabulary done, writing work done, inquiry, imagination. So this is the kind of stuff that since I used to be an English teacher, I've given you an English example. I'm sure this can be done with various other subjects as well. This is a painting by a Russian painter, Vasily Kandinsky. Recently, I was reading a blog where a 4th standard teacher somewhere in the world used this painting to teach a lesson in geometry. The class talked about his work and created their own art using angles in the style of Kandinsky. Students were asked to identify the angles they had used and point out those angles in their artwork. How wonderful for a maths teacher to use art in this manner. Now, we don't have Vasily Kandinsky, but we have our own Varley paintings. So why can't we use Varley to teach students about various types of triangles in a maths classroom? Look at this. What a wonderful idea. Getting art into a maths classroom. So this is actually art integration. It sounds a little difficult, I know, but with practice, with baby steps, I'm sure you will be able to integrate art into your lessons. You see, a lot can happen over a piece of art. The goal should be to provide opportunities for students to observe, think, and inquire. Form connections to the things that they already know about, consider multiple perspectives and viewpoints, draw their own conclusions, and they should be asked to give evidence for it. There is in the Padlet, I have given another handout which talks about how art can be integrated with various other subjects like math, science, social sciences, English language art. Do look it up. It's an interesting piece, and you can pick and choose which fits into your classroom. Of course, the NCERT and CBSE books are really amazing. Please go through them as well. Yeah, so you don't need to be an artist or an art connoisseur to do wonderful things with art in your classroom with your students. For many of you, this may be new. This whole concept of looking at art not as a hobby, but more as a tool to help students develop ways of thoughtful learning. For me, when everything ends, art is what endures and enthralls. I mean, look at this. Bhimbetka caves in Madhya Pradesh. We don't know much about the people who lived here, but the art still lives on and tells a story of its own. So thank you so much for everybody giving me a patient hearing. Here are some sites which these are 3 courses that you can do on Coursera.org. These are conducted by Museum of Modern Art, New York. These are great, very simple courses, and the pace is very, very comfortable. They're all free courses. There is another course, www.open.edu. Also, if you get the time, do read about the Harvard Project Zero, where they talk about artful thinking, and they talk of thinking routines that you can use in the classroom to boost students' learning skills, students' proficiencies. All these links have been given in the Padlet, so don't worry about it. Thank you so much. I'm going to switch off my presentation, and the floor is open to anything that you would like to ask, share, whatever.
Mansa, I think there was a specific question on can it be used for students who are in grade 10th and above. So would you be able to give some example of being able to use art integration for senior kids? While I'm sure it can be, I think you would have more interesting examples.
It can be, like I said, it can be used with students at every level. It can be used with college students. It can be used with you and me, because it's just talking about sort of widening your horizons. For me to give very specific examples, Priyanka, is difficult because these are best known, understood by the teachers themselves. They know the units they are teaching. They know their learning objectives. They know what level their students are. They know exactly how the chapter will, where art can fit in. So for me, for example, if we're talking about if they are learning about World War now, or for example in English, if they are learning about Anne Frank's diary, and the chapter is on Anne Frank's diary, the teacher can easily show them some artwork, painting, even photographs of the Holocaust, of what happened in World War II, and use it as a warm-up exercise to build that atmosphere of how life was in World War II, before she actually talks about the specific story of Anne Frank. For me to be able to give examples in science and maths would be very difficult because those are not my subjects. But if they do a little research, because when we are talking of teaching students inquiry-based learning, we are actually talking about embarking on an inquiry path ourselves. We need to become learners, and we need to start inquiring and developing an inquiry mindset even before we can start asking students to do it. So teachers, do some research, look at your lesson plans from a different perspective, and automatically you will know where what fits in. Talk to your art teachers, talk to your music teachers, see where you can have a common platform. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, Mansa, I think the example you gave about the World War would just help people imagine how they can use it in their own subjects.
Yeah. Any more questions or anything anyone wants to share? Like they have already been doing it in the class, and you know. I can see we integrated fraction with art. Our learners learned about equivalent fraction as well as mixed fraction through this. Wow, see, people are already doing it. They are. How wonderful. And when we're talking of art, we're not talking about a piece of like a painting or something. It could be anything, like I said. It could be a musical piece that, you know, the children could set the poetry and make a song out of it and set music to it. There's so many ways.
Hello, ma'am.
And there are a lot of videos. If you go to on the YouTube and you type art integration in school, unfortunately not I didn't see many videos in an Indian setting, but there are hundreds of videos, very interesting videos with doable activities in the on YouTube, where people all over the world are doing fantastic things, bringing art into their classrooms.
Yeah, Mansa, I think some of the people in the participant list who are actually doing it in their schools should record the videos and post it on YouTube.
Yes,
So that we
yes,
get
in
more
fact,
and more videos from Indian context as well.
I would love that. I would love that, because in fact today, even in the WhatsApp group, I had posted that if anybody has any video of integrating art in their classroom, please send it to me. I would be so happy to sort of use it to show how it is happening. I do know it is happening in Indian schools, because I have met teachers, I have been to school where they are doing very interesting things with art integration, and but unfortunately no great videos.
Thank you, ma'am. Today's session was really informative.
And as I was saying earlier in the chat, I would really request all of you to come to my CENTA's discussion forum and do share your ideas of what you are doing there, so that it helps everyone else in kind of just telling them what all different things they can try. Because sometimes it's just a trigger to hear someone else's idea to see what you can do in your context. So please do that, so that it's helpful for all of us.
I mean, CBSE now is even talking about including culinary arts. They're talking of getting cooking into, the curriculum. So this is amazing, how it's going to sort of really broaden the horizon and help students think out of the box and really lead things up.
So with this, I would like to thank Mansa a lot for this wonderful session. And Mansa, thanks for doing it again, so that it's helpful and useful for so many of us. And thanks to all of you for participating and sharing your experiences, asking your queries. And I really hope that it was a useful session and you would take this learning back to your classrooms and be able to use it to generate curiosity in your students and make learning more fun. So thanks a lot to all of you, and hoping to see you again.